Cazuelas de Batata y Calabaza. And this cazuela are from Puerto Rico. It's a dessert from the town of Loíza, where my grandmother, my mother, and my maternal family came from. It's one of the most forgotten, perhaps, desserts in the island. It's not like the cazuela in South America, which is too in Puerto Rico. It's a delicious dessert consisting of three main ingredients, which is the batata. In essence, is a sweet potato, which is internally white, pumpkin, and coconut milk. And I'm going to keep it a little bit old school. Back in the day was prepared, I'm talking about the 1800s, in a fogon, which is outside wood cooking, outside stove. And they used to use plantain leaf. I'm going to do something similar, but in the oven. And remember, if I can cook it, so can you. So go nowhere. Let's create. You're going to need pumpkin. And you're going to cut it in pieces and peel it. You're going to need a batata. Batata is like sweet potato, but we use in Puerto Rico. It happens to be light color, like of white. So you're going to peel it and also cut it in pieces. You're going to need 3 eggs. You're going to need some ginger, a little bit, which you're going to mince, or you're going to use the powders. You're not going to need a lot. You're going to need some ground clove. If you don't have the ground one, which could be pricey, by the way, you can get the regular clove and smash them into tiny powder. Get some ground nutmeg, powder cinnamon, ground cinnamon, coconut milk, evaporated milk, and sugar, whatever kind of sugar you want. You can use brown sugar, you can use regular white sugar, or you can use sugar replacement. Doesn't matter. Now the next step is to boil the batata and the pumpkin. And what you're going to do when you're boiling this, you want to make sure they're soft. The reason I'm using 2 containers is that once it's mashed, you have to play with the ratio. And it's easy to play with the ratio when both are smashed separately at first. You can use some of these oven-friendly baking containers. You don't want it too deep. Put some butter, Or you can go like they did back in the earlier 1800s, back in Puerto Rico. Cast iron, whatever, or ceramic. But I'm going cast iron also. And if you go cast iron, put a little bit of butter. This butter is kind of semi-melted. Just float some butter around. So what you do is you put your banana plantain, and you're going to put some butter here too. Float it with some butter. I had about 2 cups of pumpkin. I smashed it, and that's how much I was able to render. Going to put it here in a container. Then I'm going to add about 3 cups of the batata. 2 cups might be sufficient. I'm going to go with 3. Just mash 2. I still have a little bit left, which I'm going to use for something else. I'm going to mix them up well. The coconut milk is going to be about 1/4 cup. And about the same amount for the evaporated milk. See how thick it is first. It's taking that nice looking orange color. Now we're going to add the flour, all purpose. Just, you don't dump it, you just go slowly. Half a cup, by the way, half a cup. Start mixing. You know, be careful, don't go like, oops, one chunk in the middle, just mix things around. I have a cup of sugar, brown sugar. I went with the sugar replacement because I don't want too much sugar in my body. And you start adding it slowly, see? Mix. See how it's looking? How nice. Continue doing the same with the remainder of the sugar. 1 cup. You can go white sugar too, by the way, or sugar replacement like I did. Now it's time to start adding the spices. So I'm going to start with the ginger. It's about half a teaspoon. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of the ground clove. I'm going to add, oh, this stuff smells good. The ground nutmeg, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Stuff is smelling delicious, by the way. And cinnamon, I love cinnamon, so let's add about a teaspoon of the cinnamon, ground cinnamon. Let's have here. Maybe a little bit less. Mix things around. Start giving the form. And I have 3 eggs. These eggs, mix them up together. 3 eggs. I'm going to add them now. 3 eggs. And you're going to mix everything together. Nice and pretty. Nice and pretty. Mix it together well. See how beautiful? I had the oven preheating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating this baby here. Just start putting it together. You don't want to overflow it. Just put it together. Like they did back in the earlier 1800s, huh? I also have another container because I have an extra mix. This one I'm going to put on top of a oven-friendly pan. This one is going old school. About 45-50 minutes later, yeah, comes out clean. So it's cooked. See, it came out clean. This is the toothpick test. So now I'm going to get them out. I'm going to let them cool. Back in the 1800s, they didn't have refrigerators, so they just leave it outside to cool down.